Councillors, Chief Officers, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding to receive the Worshipful the Mayor of Knowsley, Councillor Jackie Harris.
Thank you, colleagues. Please be seated. Colleagues, welcome to this meeting and welcome to everyone in the public gallery. Can I remind everyone that all mobile phones should be turned off to silent for the duration of this meeting, and can I ask all members to ensure that they use the microphones. Please note, as usual, the Council will be filming and recording this meeting. This will include people sitting in the public gallery, and a copy of the film will be uploaded to the website. And I also refer to everyone in order the papers that have been placed on the front of your seat and in front of your bench. Thank you. Item 1. Are the minutes of the meeting agreed? Thank you. Yes?
On page 12, Madam Mayor, where it says, in an answer to my question, that the watch factory was fit for purpose and occupancy, or that it was understood that it was. I received an email the 7th of August from Knowsley Council, from a chief officer, saying that we agreed with the residents that the windows within the building at present are not fit for purpose, and it goes on in detail to describe all the deficiencies in that building, also the inadequacy of the heating system, etc, etc, etc. And whilst I accept that what is written down might have been said, it could be seen to be misleading. Clearly the council knew the position with regard to the condition of the watch factory and the vulnerability of the residents that actually occupy those tenancies or those apartments within the within the site. So I'm concerned about the accuracy, and I'm concerned that members were misled at the last meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. The minutes are a true copy, I'm told, and they are of true wording. Thank you. Leader?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to seek some clarification then for Councillor Smith. It's sort of disappointing that we're here tonight, is that it was the 7th of August that you received our email, but for some clarification then, Councillor Smith, if it's okay, we set up a meeting, we sit down round the table and just iron out what's for fit for purpose and what isn't, and hopefully we can work together on that, if that's okay.
Thank you, Leader. Item 2, declarations of interest.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A number of personal interests have been declared in item number 5, review of polling description places. These will all be recorded in the minutes. However, Councillors Baum, Bell and Smith have declared a DPI in that item. So when the item is considered, they will leave the room for the item.
Thank you. Item 3, mail engagements. Can you note these, please? Item 4, public question time. There's been no public questions received. Item 5, the review of the polling district and places. Councillor Ashton.
Happy to move the recommendations.
Hang on, Jane. Can we ask people to leave the room who have actually declared an interest in this? Sorry, Councillor Ashton, would you like to speak?
Happy to move the recommendations contained in the report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Moore.
Can I formally second those recommendations, Madam Mayor?
Thank you. Right. Any questions, comments from the members of the council? There are no comments or amendments. Can I put the motion to the vote, please? All those in favour? All those against? Would anybody like to abstain? Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you. Item 6, annual reports. Councillor Alan Flute.
Happy to move those recommendations, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Louise Arbour.
Happy to second the recommendation, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the members of the council? Is there any amendments to put forward? Can I put the motion to the vote? All those in favour? All those against? Would anyone like to abstain? The motion is carried. Item 7. Proposed amendments to the Members' Code of Conduct. Councillor Alan Flute.
Happy to move those recommendations, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Jane Aston.
I second those recommendations, Madam Mayor.
Any questions, comments from the members of the council? Councillor Smith.
I can't find my notes, but through experience and looking at some of the amendments to this, I think there's a section with regard to bullying, and basically in terms of on behalf of members rather than officers, I would like to know who guards the guards, because certainly one of the processes I went through back in 2000, whenever it was, 11 and 12, that was certainly one of the criticisms of this council from the Standards Board of England.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Cass.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Fully support the changes or the amendments to the Members' Code of Conduct. I'm particularly pleased to see the councillors who are moving the recommendation, in particular Councillor Alan Flute, who once described me as being as much use as a chocolate teapot. So very happy to see his change of heart. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ashton.
Anyone for two?
Sorry, Madam Mayor, could we just seek clarification? I don't actually know what Councillor Smith was referring to.
Thank you. Councillor Smith, would you like to respond?
Well, what I'm referring to is I suppose the disciplinary process, where in this council, as we know, everything's heavily biased towards the ruling group, and I suppose one could even say officers as well. You know, the person who is accused is basically on their own, and you go through that process, and basically it's a horrendous experience. And you know, in my case, I had to go to the Standards Board of England to get any satisfaction, because I knew, because of the biasness in this council, that I wasn't going to get it within this council. Simple as that. So who guards the guards is very important in the whole process. Otherwise the member has no insurance, if you like, or recourse.
Thank you, Councillor Ashton.
Just a comment, Madam Mayor. I think they're outrageous comments to be made from, well, I do, Councillor Smith, I'm afraid. I think they're outrageous. To call into question officers' integrity in that way, in my view, would probably contravene members' conduct. And I would like the officers, certainly from the Labour group, would like the officers to investigate the comments that have just been made in full council.
Thanks, Councillor Ashton.
Dear, excuse me, are you referring to me? Councillor Aston or Jane?
Can we talk to the chair, please?
Thank you.
Yes, Cal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think we can all note with the sweet irony that whilst we are debating this amendment to the Members' Code of Conduct, we can hear heckling from all across the room. So, as we go forward to approve the recommendations, which I think we will do, I think I would ask members to maybe reread it and take it into consideration as they conduct the business within the Chamber. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. If there are no other amendments to the motion, can we have a vote? Those who are for, please. Thank you. Now, those who are against? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Thank you. Item 8, Joint Authorities. Councillor Linda Mooney wishes to ask a question.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. My question is to the leader of the Labour Party. In view of the recent media reports regarding the allocation of 2 lots of funding from the Combined Authority, specifically the 1 million from the Mayoral Town Centres Fund, together with the feasibility funding to support the proposed new railway station at Headboat Lane in Kirby, can the leader please give more information as to what these monies will be utilised for, and provide an update as to the current status of the proposed Headboat Lane station, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and also thanks to Councillor Mooney for your question. It's good tonight to have the opportunity to explain the benefits which Knowsley is achieving by playing a role as a key partner in the Liverpool City region. Colleagues, tonight I'm pleased to confirm that reports in the media were correct and that Knowsley has once again been successful in securing funding from the Combined Authority, continuing our excellent track record of delivery and growth. We are all proud of the Council's commitment in stepping in to drive forward the regeneration of the Kirby Town Centre, and I'm pleased to confirm that we have a funding package in place to support that project. With the Kirby project in mind, we have also put in for £1 million bid from the Mayoral Town Centres Fund to be spent in Highton and Prescott Town Centres. The money will be spent on the town centre events and promotions and projects to make the town centres a more welcome environment to our visitors. We will be consulting with local businesses on the planned projects in due course so that together we can maximise the potential and appeal of our town centres. And colleagues, while I'm talking about our town centres, you might have also seen in the press over the weekend that we've been successful in our bid to the Historic Towns Fund for Prescott. We've been awarded £1.5 million and this will be utilised to restore a number of historic buildings in Marketplace and on Kemble Street. Coming back to in terms of the Headboat Lane station, to give it its proper title, Headboat Lane Gateway, this is a key component of Merseyside's long-term rail strategy. The project has been awarded over £200,000 from the Combined Authority, and this will be used to pay for feasibility work to continue and progress through the detailed design stage. Ultimately, this could result in a £45 million project. The £200,000 funding from the Combined Authority will allow us to work with Network Rail on a feasibility work, thereby ensuring that the full project stands the best chance of being selected in due course. The Headboat Lane Gateway will not only provide residents in the north of Kirby with access to the rail network, but it will also act as an important transport hub to support the city region's largest employment park, Knowsley Business Park. There are around 15,000 employees working on the park, and this new station will provide them with direct access to the rail network via a direct and dedicated pedestrian and cycle route. I will of course keep colleagues updated on this project progress, and I am sure that we can look forward to even more outcomes from our positive relationship with the Liverpool City region. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Leader. Members' question time, item 9, Councillor Ken McGlashan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I ask the Leader This Labour-run council identified the perception and fear of crime in our communities to be a top priority when setting our budget for this year. Can the leader therefore explain what's been done with that investment, what success has been there to date, and what community reassurance can we look forward to seeing over the coming months? Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and can I thank Councillor McGlashan for the question, and can I ask my colleague Councillor Shelley Powell to respond?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you to Councillor McGlashan for the question. In March this year, this council made crime and antisocial behaviour a top priority. We approved this extra funding to help us work with our partners to establish a better joined-up response designed to tackle this issue and increase community confidence. Colleagues, I'm delighted to tell you about our new Crime and Communities Service, which was launched early this month. This new team will work across Knowsley to identify and respond to those issues causing our communities harm. Our investment means that every area now has a dedicated officer, providing a single point of contact to identify issues and coordinate multi-agency responses. The improved outcomes achieved by the service include increased partnership visibility through neighbourhood walkabouts, introducing a scheme to protect vulnerable adults at risk of exploitation, ensuring that they're safe within their homes. We listen to residents' concerns and targeted activity, an example being Fairhaven and Kirby, whereby residents have seen walkabouts, land searches, bike seizures and increased partnership presence. Being able to respond to issues quicker. You may have heard about the despicable theft of lawnmowers from Barclay JFC who play at Brownsfield in Prescott. An officer from our Crime and Communities Service, working with the community, was able to identify evidence to support the police in their investigation into bringing those responsible for the theft to account. In fact, feedback about the new service has been great. A couple of examples from residents epitomise why this investment has been so important, with comments like, "We are finally being listened to and thanks for taking the time." But this is not all. This council has also invested in other measures designed to support this approach, including investment in CCTV across the borough as we work to upgrade our CCTV networks in public places, but also in some hard-to-reach locations used by individuals who fly tip or commit other offences. Investment in supporting our partners to tackle community priorities such as scrambler bike misuse, where we have worked with police colleagues to ensure that Knowsley now has a dedicated police quad response, and invested in a community fund which has provided grants to organisations working within our communities to make them safer. However, colleagues, I want to be clear, this is only the beginning. I'm grateful to all our partners for being so supportive of what this council wanted to achieve, but you can expect to continue to see and hear more from this team through dedicated social media and continued visibility within our communities. Before I finish, I would like to share with you all a short video highlighting some of these great achievements and why this investment has been so important to us and our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Shelley. Will now be a short video, colleagues.
Here at Knowsley Borough Council, we've listened to our residents, and something that is really important to them is safety in our communities, so we've invested in that to make a difference. We've joined agencies together, including the fire and the police. We've made a massive investment, including enhanced CCTV and higher visibility in our communities.
The introduction of the Crime and Communities team will really help us deal with some of the challenges that we're facing, and it's a real positive step forward for a more joined up approach between all the partners that contribute to making Knowsley a safer place. We've reduced up to 50% in some instances calls that are coming into the police because we've been able to give a better support at a local level with the contribution of all our partners.
One of the things that makes our job much easier is our level of partnership work, and we have a really good relationship with the key stakeholders in the area.
Good morning, Knowsley Housing Trust, Jane speaking, how can I help you?
And we also have a dedicated officer at the multi-agency safeguarding hub as well. The bonus of that is that we get to deliver holistic services to our residents. We're able to target particular hotspots. We often do walkabouts with local councillors and the police and Merseyside Fire Service, where we'll look at areas where there are a lot of complaints coming in and look at how we can work together to resolve some of those issues. Our key really is for early intervention as much as possible. Our aim is to work with residents and communities to try and resolve things as quickly as we can.
Working with them and strengthening the partnerships and the networks we have really strengthens us as a community. They have faith to come to us and work with us at grassroots level, which is really important to us.
So our main aim is for a stronger and tighter community. Our Neighbourhood Watch scheme started last year. We wanted them to take ownership of their own community, which was really, really positive.
We've really got interested in our local community, keeping our eye over each other, and we link up with the community police who pay regular visits to us to help people feel more secure. It all started with coming together here, really, because there was a need. We're very, very happy the way things are going.
But the most positive thing to come out of it was starting a WhatsApp group. And daily we get people saying, oh, we've just seen this, we've just seen that, so we can get in touch with the police, or we can literally just follow it up ourselves.
People don't feel as isolated on the WhatsApp group. Anything bothering them, they can talk to other people and be reassured that everything's all right, or somebody will go and help them if they live on their own.
And I would say we've got about 1,000 people on our WhatsApp group. They know now they've got somewhere to go to. And I think because we've got so much support from the police and the councillors, if we can't deal with it ourselves, we can then take it over to them. So everyone just feels safer. We've seen a real coming together of the community because collectively, as a partnership, we've acted on information that's been given to us and the community are feeling the benefits of those results.
Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service have an arson reduction team with a dedicated officer to Knowsley. Part of the arson reduction team's role is to arrange community walkabouts. This is done in conjunction with Crime and Communities team to reduce antisocial behaviour, reducing those number of small fires that occur in public spaces such as parks and other areas. We also carry out a number of home fire safety checks, protecting people from the threat of fire.
Our role is to help young people with diversionary activities, also with preventative work. We ask young people what concerns them, and at the top of the list was knife crime. The young people support one another, and I think that's key.
I'm a member of Youth Parliament for Knowsley, and over the last 12 months I've been working on a campaign called Stop the Knives Ending Lives with my youth cabinet, and we've been trying to raise awareness on the issue of knife crime and antisocial behaviour. I think the young people that we've been working with, it's made them sort of realise on how dangerous knife crime and antisocial behaviour is.
Kirby Amateur Boxing Club was founded in 1961. Regarding preventing crime, we work with the Merseyside Probation Service and we also work with Meadow Park School. Every walk of life make mistakes. Everybody's equal here. You're treated the same as everybody else.
Made a bit of a mistake.
I've been coming here ever since, so it's kind of really helped me getting back into fitness, getting back into training, and it's good for kind of mental health and feeling good about yourself. Kind of a good silver lining, and even when my hours are finished, I am not going to kind of, if you need any help within the boxing or within the kind of this community, I'm only a stone's throw away, and I'm willing to help at any time.
The improvements that I've seen people that come to us, I always remember one lady that came to us really summed up why I do this. She gave me this thank you card. One person can make a difference, and that person is you.
We saw how much benefit they got from it, you know, the therapeutic benefits of it. So it wasn't just then about growing food with the community, it was then about people's mental well-being, making them feel better about themselves and the socialising side of it. They're working with people that don't judge them, don't look at them for their addictions, don't look at them for their offending, and they're actually looking at the person that's inside rather than what people say or the label that they've been given. They're treated just like anybody else, and it makes everybody feel a part of the family and together.
I just hit rock bottom the last few years. I was ready for just quitting, finishing. I didn't want to live anymore. And I got sober. I've been sober now for just over 6 months. And this does really help, thank you. This really does help. It really does. It's a hobby, but it's an real enjoyment out of it. You learn about people a lot as well. And we just seem to get closer, you know, and we help each other.
The joined-up approach to problem solving will really help us to make Knowsley a safer place.
One of the benefits of partnership working and collaboration is that you can share information more quickly, deliver a holistic service.
Probably the most secure way of making people feel safe is by knowing each other. You feel there's people you can go to if there are problems.
So here at Knowsley, we've made our investment to you. So over to you, how are you going to get involved?
Thank you for that, Councillor Powell. It was really interesting, very good with you. And then I'd want to Councillor Crispin Evans, who wishes to ask the leader a question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can the leader please provide an update on the council's planning for Brexit, and if and when we do leave, with or without a deal?
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Crispin Evans, for the question. What a loaded question, so I'm going to hand this over to Councillor Ashton to respond.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and can I thank both Councillor Evans and the leader for asking me to try and make sense of Brexit. Sadly, Madam Mayor, I very much doubt I'll be able to shed light on the chaos that is Westminster politics at the moment. What with the constant uncertainty and the farcical Tory pantomime which is being played out in Parliament. But I'm pleased to say this Labour Council is doing everything we can to prepare for Brexit. We all know that there are major risks linked to Brexit. The problem is, depending on what day it is or who is doing the talking, the risks and the potential impact seem to change. And it's this national uncertainty which is making it so difficult for us to plan on a local level. So we just have to do what we always do. In other words, we do the best that we can to protect the people from Tories. We have to think about the potential impact on key transport routes within Knowsley and nearby, and the availability of fuel, food supplies, medicines and vaccines. We're working with our own council services to update and test our contingency plans and making sure that our contractors, suppliers and external providers are doing the same. As always, Madam Mayor, our focus is on the residents and businesses of Knowsley. Rather than second-guessing the exact outcome or the timing of an EU exit, council officers have been instructed to plan for the worst so that anything better will be a bonus. We're working hard to ensure that all our services are prepared and that our residents and businesses will have access to the support that they need. We're also working closely with our partners across Knowsley and on the Liverpool City region footprint, including the NHS, the police and the Fire and Rescue Service. And through the Local Resilience Forum, officers are working together to make sure that there are coordinated local plans in place. And my Cabinet colleagues and I, on behalf of the Council, are working with elected members across the Liverpool City region to make sure those local plans stay in place. If this current government won't or can't show leadership, then we will. So whether the country leaves the EU with a deal or without a deal, whether we leave on October the 31st or some alternative future date, whether we have another referendum or a general election or maybe both, our focus is on ensuring that we have plans in place to support our residents and businesses through the changes, challenges and perhaps even, who knows, opportunities that they may face. As always, Madam Mayor, the Labour-run Council will continue to put our residents, communities and businesses first. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ashton. Can I invite Councillor Terry Byron, please, to ask a question?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Is the Leader of the Council aware of a leaflet which has recently been distributed in Prescott by the Green Party, accusing him of misleading the Council and by implication our residents, in his response to a question tabled by Councillor Kai Taylor at the previous full Council? And will he now take the opportunity to clarify the matter? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and also thank you to Councillor Byron for giving me the opportunity to clarify this issue. First of all, yes, I am aware of the leaflet which was recently distributed in Prescott by the Green Party, and I am aware that the leaflet falsely accuses me of misleading the Council and by implication our residents. I'm sure everybody here tonight, everybody will agree that it's disappointing to be publicly accused of something which you haven't done. So let me make it absolutely clear what I have done and what I have done in relation to this matter. At our council meeting on the 10th of July, I was asked a question by Councillor Kai Taylor. Just to be crystal clear here tonight, the wording of the question is now on the screens. You can see that Councillor Taylor was asking me about a trip to the south of France and on what value it had to our local residents. I answered Councillor Taylor's question in full and in some detail. You might remember that I shared a promotional film which was used at the event in the south of France to showcase Knowsley on the world stage. I explained that the council attendance had been in collaboration with the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority and it had been a cost of £4,000. I concluded my response by sharing just some of the benefits which have secured to the date being involved in the partnership, including £50 million worth of funding by the Combined Authority towards the priority projects such as Shakespeare North, Halsney Garden Village for example. I have spoken again tonight about even more city region investments coming our way. I made no attempt to say that we didn't go to the event in the south of France, but I made it clear that we are getting a substantial return for our investment from attending that event. When I answered Councillor Taylor's question, I also clarified, and let me clarify it once again for anybody who's struggling to understand, that Knowsley did not have a stall at the MIPIN event in the south of France. I explained that the stand was booked and arranged and branded by the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority. We nominated 2 delegates to attend and provide support as important as for the partnership that we have. Once again, to be absolutely clear, we did not own a stall at the MIPIN event in the south of France. All of this is recorded in the minutes of the July meeting, and I haven't changed one iota of my previous response because it was 100% accurate and true. A couple of weeks ago, Councillor Taylor emailed me with a picture. You can also see that picture in the council chamber tonight. As you can see, it's a picture of a Knowsley conference stand. This picture was taken at an event in London last October. Just in case anybody is still confused,
Excuse me, can we have one talk, please?
Madam Mayor, Councillor Taylor's just only previously just said about heckling, so it's double standards all the way along. I'll carry on, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Taylor, can you let the leader speak, please? If you wish to speak after, we will listen to that.
So, Madam Mayor, just in case, if anybody is still confused, I can confirm that London is the capital of England and is not in the south of France.
London is the capital of the United Kingdom, Graham.
Councillor Taylor, I'll ask you once more, please. Keep your speeches till after the leader has finished.
The purpose of Councillor Taylor's email was to ask me for my comments on the picture. I guessed he thought it was a picture of the event in the south of France, so I replied to explain this was his mistake. Despite my very clear explanation on 2 separate occasions, the Green Party have chosen to circulate a leaflet to the residents of Prescott with an image of a Knowsley stall and a statement, "I misled the chamber." Colleagues, it is quite clear that Councillor Taylor asked me if we had a stand in the south of France, and I explained we didn't. I said we didn't because that's true. If I'm being kind, colleagues, I would say it was all a misunderstanding on Councillor Taylor's part. In the same leaflet, Councillor Taylor is quoted as saying, "The ball is now in the Labour's court, who should apologise for misleading the public." Having explained the situation, I think we would all agree, I think the ball is in Councillor Taylor's court, and the right thing to do tonight would be to apologise for misleading the public and also accusing me of making a false statement. I would also think it was fair that the amended green leaflet is sent out and explain the true facts to be published. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
The Council's procedure rules do not provide a right of reply in this instance. However, can I finish, please? However, in my capacity as the Mayor and the Chairman of this meeting, I will allow Councillor Kai Taylor to respond to what Councillor Morgan has said, if he wishes. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Firstly, I'm a bit disappointed Councillor Byron didn't think to ask me the question, but I'm happy to see him speak in council. He's only spoke twice since I've been a councillor. Once was to attack Councillor Ian Smith and once was to attack me, so fantastic record. Moving on, I'll inform the Labour group that, as they know, Council Watch is a regular article that features in the Knowsley Green View, which goes out to 30,000 residents and is a community newsletter issued by the Green Party. What I will say is we are continuing to look into the trips that Labour councillors have went on. We have more that's developed, and we will continue to notify residents in the articles, particularly Swanside Green View, which is going out this week. There will be a full update in that, and in future Greenview articles that go across Knowsley. What I will say is if any members do have any other questions about anything that is written on a Green Party leaflet, they are more than welcome to speak to me about it. And furthermore, Madam Mayor, can I just point out that on the frequent occasions of heckling that has just occurred, you did not intervene. You only intervened when I spoke, which I think is incredibly poor chairmanship.
Excuse me, I can. I am the Mayor and I'm the Chairman of this meeting, and if I feel it is not right for you to intervene while the leader or any member is speaking, I will say so. Thank you. Leader, would you like to respond to that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Outrageous comments there against the Mayor, who's neutral, plays a neutral part in this council chamber tonight. Madam Mayor, tonight is the third time which I have explained the facts, and the facts are clear. I have offered Councillor Taylor the opportunity to admit his mistake and put the record straight. The fact that he has declined to apologise suggests to me that he is deliberately misleading the people. I have no alternatively now to take legal advice as to the action which will be taken in response to the Greens Party's misleading comments, and I will also be making an official code of conduct complaint against Councillor Taylor. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Leader. Item 10, notice of motion. Councillor Shelley Powell, I believe you have a motion you wish the Council to consider.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Happy to move this notice of motion.
Thank you. Councillor Aston.
Happy to second the motion, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Shelley Powell, do you wish to speak on the motion?
Yes, please, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
So the motion is Unison's Violence at Work Charter. Any form of workplace violence is unacceptable, cannot be tolerated and must end. It is any act or threat of physical violence, harassment, intimidation or other threatening, disruptive behaviour that occurs at a work site. It ranges from threats and verbal abuse to physical assaults and even homicide. It can affect and involve employees, clients, customers and visitors. As a council, we are very fortunate to have a committed and hard-working workforce that seeks to give the best possible service to Knowsley's residents. Our staff have the absolute right to be able to carry out their work without any fear of violence or aggression, so I firmly believe that we should welcome Unison's charter to end violence at work. Therefore, I commend this notice of motion to the Council for approval. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Shelley. Councillor Ashton, do you wish to speak on the motion?
No, thanks, Madam Mayor. I think Councillor Powell has covered all the points. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members who wish to speak on the motion? No. Okay. Councillor Shelley Powell, would you like to respond before I put the motion to the vote?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, can I ask those all in favour of the motion? All those against the motion? Would anybody like to abstain on the motion? The motion is carried. Councillor Jane Ashton, I believe you have a motion you wish to Council to consider.
I move the motion as laid out in the order paper, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Graham Morgan, I believe you wish to second the motion.
Yeah, can I formally second that resolution, Madam Mayor?
Thank you. Councillor Ashton, do you wish to speak on the motion?
Yes, please, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Madam Mayor. In the past 10 years, first Tory Lib Dem and now Tory austerity measures have had a devastating effect on local government funding, a fact that all members will be familiar with. What may be new to members, however, is the scale of the impact these policies have had on local government workers nationally. We've seen a staggering 22% real terms reduction in pay during that time. Within this council, the people affected by these pay reductions are more often than not Knowsley residents themselves, and the majority of them are women who, due to the nature of their jobs, are already low paid. Madam Mayor, this situation is totally unacceptable. As chair of Knowsley Joint Consultative Committee, I'm proud to stand alongside the GMB and the other single status trade unions to move this motion so that we can collectively exert pressure on this government to demand that they address this long-standing issue. As a council, we're proud to pay the real living wage here in Knowsley, but more can be done. This motion calls upon the government to agree a national £10 minimum wage for the lowest paid members of our workforce. In addition, we're calling for a 10% increase in pay across other pay scales, which would begin to address the 22% real terms cut in pay that I mentioned earlier. Madam Mayor, in Knowsley, We are only too aware of the games governments play in terms of local government funding. How many times have we seen pledges to increase funding to public sector services such as adult social care and police, only to find the government abdicating their responsibilities and passing the burden to the good people of Knowsley, the hardest hit of all areas in the country, in the form of increases in council tax. If the government tried to pass the burden for such a pay award onto the council or to Knowsley Council taxpayers, this would cost the council in excess of £6 million. As you know, Madam Mayor, we've already had to make savings in excess of £100 million due to government cuts during the period of austerity. Cuts which have seen vital services within our communities cut back to the bone. And unfortunately, Madam Mayor, these challenges continue, with the council facing high demand and cost pressures in both adult and children's services. The government announced headline figures in its 2020-2021 spending round last week, and we await the details of the council's financial settlement later this year. But however that translates in terms of funding, our priority has to be meeting our statutory demand and bolstering the services that we provide and that our residents depend on. Therefore, this motion calls on the government to finally stand up and take responsibility for a fully funded, well-deserved pay award, instead of abdicating their responsibilities once more by passing the burden to hard-pressed residents. Because sadly, Madam Mayor, without such explicit funding from the government, it would be impossible for any council to meet the costs of such a pay rise for the reasons that I've already set out earlier, however much it's deserved by our hard-working staff. In closing, I hope all members in this chamber support this motion and agree to champion the cause of our employees, who I pay tribute to here tonight, and who provide such excellent services that we all depend on. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Graham Morgan, would you like to speak on the motion?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other members who wish to speak on the motion? Councillor O'Keefe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to say that I fully support the motion and I would urge all colleagues in the room to do so, but I'd also like to express my disgust at what I've just witnessed. As Councillor Aston referred to Conservative Liberal Democrat austerity, we had an eye roll, a sigh and a comment of, do they have to bring that up from the opposition bench? Well, yes, Councillor Wynne, we do have to bring that up, and I'll tell you why. Because 110,000 deaths in this country have been directly attributed to Tory Liberal Democrat implemented austerity. So it displays your dismissiveness, your privileged position, rolling your eyes at people who have to suffer this. You facilitated this policy, and now you have the audacity to sit there and roll your eyes and huff at people who've had to suffer through the policies that your party implemented. So I'd just like to raise that point, Madam Mayor, this evening. Thank you.
Are there any other members? Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We fully support this notice of motion, but you know, I would like to remind, I think one of Councillor Aston's comments was about the way the government, you know, passes things on, and which they do, and I agree. But also, you know, this council over the years has not been without, you know, its mistakes. I can remember being in a meeting where, you know, the council was going to award itself the officers a 15% pay rise, Madam Mayor, and that was for people, I think it was over 50, earning already over £50,000 at the time. And at the same time, around the table, it had just come through about the reduction in interest rates, which meant that they could reduce, or this council could reduce, the rest of the workforce pay from something like 3% down to 2.75%. And I've got to say, I really wanted to walk out in disgust at that meeting, because I was ashamed to be a member of Knowsley Council
at the time, because that's the way the lower paid workforce in this council was treated in those days. I'm glad to see that there is some change and there has hopefully been some rebalance in funding, but don't, you know, don't, I don't care, don't accuse
Can we have
us.
one speaker, please?
Your hands aren't clean. The Labour Party, now and in the past, has done the dirty on its own workforce, including the unions.
Are there anyone else that used to speak on this, please? Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just another comment. I think it's hilarious that you were ashamed to be a member of Knowsley but not a member of the Liberal Democrats as a starter for 10. And secondly, I would appreciate it if you kept your finger pointing and your misogynistic and patronising comments to yourself, because you're making quite a habit of it this evening, Councillor Smith. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to debate on this? No? Okay. Councillor Ashton, do you wish to speak on it?
I don't know where to start, to be honest, Madam Mayor. Sorry, did you say something?
I said no, you mustn't know where to start.
No. Yeah, I'm sure I will. Madam Mayor, I would urge everyone in the chamber to support this notice of motion, because it's a very important notice of motion. But I find it incredible for the comments that have come from Councillor Smith. First of all, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. But secondly,
can we please have one speaker?
And now he's talking about how old I am now. He's on a roll.
Yeah.
He's almost on a hat-trick tonight, Madam Mayor. He's also almost on a hat-trick. I'll continue my comments, maybe free from heckling from Councillor Smith. Thank you. Very important notice of motion, but I find it incredible, some of the comments that Councillor Smith has made tonight. When they sat there, the Liberal Democrats sat there in 2010 on their hands and approved every single thing the Tories brought in during that time. Everything that we're having to still live with in this council, the residents, the benefit changes, all the cuts that this council has had to endure is down to the Lib Dems. And you know what, Madam Mayor, they all do roll their eyes every time I do mention the Lib Dem coalition. And I will never tire of reminding the residents of Knowsley what the Lib Dems did in that coalition. Never ever tire of it, and I'll continue to remind the residents of Knowsley, because they need to remember what they're responsible for. Moving the recommendations in this notice of motion, and ask everybody to support it. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Councillor Ashton. All those in favour? Okay. All those against? Any abstentions? The motion is moved. Thank you. Item 11. Colleagues, I have no further items of business. Can I thank you all for your attendance, and can I call the meeting to a close? Thank you.
Please be upstanding for the Mayor.